Oh, hey,
When you hear the dog barking, you know the mule and donkey are coming around the bend. And I'm the mule, I'm the mule, Steve's the donkey, and we're coming around the bend now for another hour of mule and donkey talk. My name is Dave. This is Steve Edwards. Every week on Tuesday, we get together on YouTube and Facebook and live stream our very own. I think it's probably one of the world's only weekly mule and donkey Q&A. It's an online clinic. Steve used to travel around the entire world, and that was great. But the number of people that have been able to that we've been able to impact, online has just dwarfed the number of people we've been able to impact in a live setting, just because this is international. Hopefully you'll take us international today. Some of our friends in Australia or up north in Canada. I know that we've got some friends in the Netherlands and some friends in France and Germany. But hey, it's international. And so we take it live all across the world every Tuesday. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Steve, how has it been since this time last week?
Good. Jess says you didn't introduce him. What do you think, Jess? Jess. Yeah, okay, that'll do. So he says he's not real happy about that. You got to make sure you introduce Jess. So now I've been up in Montana, up there with Ron Den, by golly, and it's pretty nice.
That's awesome. Jess knows when he hears that sound, he knows that it's time for us to rock and roll. I think it's so funny.
Yeah, he gets used to certain things like that, so
that's right.
My camera got funny there. There we go.
There we go. Now we'll make it look a little bit better. So the way this works, folk, like I said, every Tuesday we get together, talk mules and donkeys. And the way it works is we really only ask three things. Number one, we ask that you share your name, where you're watching from, and what the weather is like today. We would just love to know who's here, who's spending a little bit of time with us, and to say hello to you. The second thing is we ask you share any and every mule and donkey question that you've got. There's no question that we've answered too many times. There's no question that's a dumb question. There's no question that is too advanced. We'll go down that path. There's no question that's really off limits. We've had people, come on, disagree with Steve, and that's where we say, hey, we'll tell you what's worked for us since, cowboying and then working with the animals since 81, 82. But if something else works for you, that's great. Sometimes we'll come across a question, don't know the answer to, haven't heard much about it. And so that's when you'll hear Steve say, hey, I don't know that I've ever heard about that. Why don't you go ahead and try it? It sounds like an okay idea. And then come back and let me know. So any and every mule or donkey question that you've got, put it in the comment section. And yes, if your standards are lower and you still are riding a horse or driving a horse, you could put those in there as well. We will not judge you harshly. The third thing that we ask is that you share the broadcast on YouTube or share it on Facebook. And it's real easy to do that. These social media companies, as difficult as they make it to recover your account if it gets hacked, they sure do make it easy to share whatever it is you're watching. So there's a share button on both YouTube and Facebook. Click that button. There's also like buttons on both YouTube and Facebook. Click that button. And then if you want to comment, tag a friend or family member in the comment, you can do that as well. So I'll go ahead and say hello to some of the people who are bright and early with us. If they're over in Australia, closing down the end of the day if they're over here stateside. I want to say hello to Lori watching from Gulnair, Colorado. Ashley watching from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Diana is watching from California, 84 degrees. And I'll tell you what, Steve, Diana, I believe this is you, Diana, been going through all of her instructional videos on muleranch.com. Of course, we put hundreds of videos, I think we may even have 1,000 now, on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. But we have all sorts of full-length instructional videos available for purchase on muleranch.com. Well, Diana's been going through those one by one, leaving comments about all the things she's trying. It sure is exciting to see that. Very encouraging. Thank you, Diana. Rory is watching from Southwest Ohio, as Rory does every week. It's gorgeous out. Just put the new steel on my mules and rearing to go. Absolutely. Sherman Johnson is watching, 80 degrees, and just rained this morning. Jacob is watching from southern Minnesota. Thanks for all the free information. Oh, he said it there. Or actually, he said it there. Free. That's our favorite F word, free.
Yeah,
You
our
got
F
it,
word is
Jacob.
free.
That's right. We love it. Diana has our first question of the day. I am transitioning from Halter and Martingale to just the Martingale. Can I use the Martingale for trail riding for the next 3 to 6 months and then transition to the trail riders bit? Thank you.
I have pretty much can tell you I use that martingale all my life. When I was riding mules in Sinai Desert in Egypt, I rode the martingale. Israel, Brazil, Australia, I rode the martingale. Why is that? Because what happens when you go to someplace new and different, new smells, this sort of thing, it can be pretty difficult to get a hold of Mr. Mule. Oh, but he's trained. He'll be trained until the mule comes out in him. Flight and fright. Then it's try to catch me if you can, and that happens a lot. So here's the deal. Yes, use that martingale. It's a wonderful tool. I use it on the sides of mountains, crossing through water, fishing, hunting, the whole bit, moving cows. But when I use it all the time. And I use my trail rider bit, but I got to tell you, when something's new, like the T-shirt that I have, every day is a new day for that mule, and you got to think about that. Just because they're trained, they're only going to stay trained as long as you are able to communicate to them. So yes, use that martingale. Transition into that using the surcingle with the martingale to teach them to pack the bit, and you'll do great. Congratulations.
So, folks, if you do not have your Queen Valley Mule Ranch, every day is a different day for a mule or donkey. You can go to muleranch.com, pick them up. Here are your shirts. Put that link in the comment section. Go pick it up. Send us a link. We've got all sorts of folks who have sent in pictures over the last year or so, and it's a lot of fun to see. And it's just a way for you to be a part of the Queen Valley Mule Ranch family, even when you're not out in Queen Valley on the ranch. So go check that out. And let's see here. Matter of fact.
And guess what, Dave? We are going to have, remember, next week, I'm going to be in Shelbyville, Tennessee. And we're going to have them T-shirts there. And we're going to have some hats there. And we're going to have a whole bunch of other stuff there, too. So, come on over and can't wait to see you there in Shelbyville. We're going to have a ball. Matter of fact, was it Thursday? The mule evangelist of all the country, Mr. Marty Ray. We're going to be visiting with him, and that's going to be a unique thing. And then we'll have that for the future.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. I just put a link in the comment section to the American Mule and Bluegrass Festival. Actually, they changed their name, Steve. The American Mule and Music Association is what it looks like they changed their name there to. Or maybe I can't tell. We'll ask Marty Ray that question. What's the official title these days?
It's American Mule and Bluegrass Festival.
By the American Mule and Music Association.
There you go.
Awesome. Very good. Next question that I've got is, what are tapaderos?
Well, we happen to have a picture of a tapadero. And the good thing about those is this. See them hanging off that saddle? Those, when you go through brush, they keep you from getting hung up. When you got cold or wet days, they keep your feet warm. But here's the main thing about them. Number one thing, I'm always concerned about being dragged. I've come close a couple times. I had some horses, when I rode horses, fall on me. And if it wasn't for that tap, I could have been drugged. Your foot don't go through a tap. And they're great. We use them here in the United States of America, called Arizona, which is the true United States of America. And we use them all the time. We're completely covered in leather here because everything here is going to bite you, sting you, or stick you. And it's nice to have those. I've been in a couple almost wrecks when I was riding oxbows and other type of stirrups. And when you take a stick, it goes through that and gets you hung up, it's up a creek. So it's for your safety, the number one thing.
Very good. Yep, Steve rides and taps. If you see any pictures of Steve riding, he's riding and taps. And yeah, safety and protecting your feet from all sorts of things that you could rub up against. Next question I got here is, Steve, I've seen your videos about how to pick up the front foot, but what about the back feet? What do I do to pick up the back foot?
Don't we have videos on that too? I'm sure we do.
Yeah, we do. I'll bring it up here.
Okay. By the way, here's the thing with the back foot. People think when they shoe, they only need to do the front end because that's where all the weight is from the neck. The downside is this. You have feet in the back, feet in the front. When the back feet start getting sore, then the mule elevates his head, which hollows out his back, which now you're not getting a comfortable mule to ride. He's the one uncomfortable. Okay, now watch this. See that mule pulling against me, pulling against me, pulling against me? Now watch this. I'm quiet. Notice my left hand is on the hip, cueing the mule that I want you to stand still, and that keeps the mule over. Now watch this. Then I come straight back and then pick up the foot. Notice the mule tried to pull it away. I went ahead and held on to it. As long as I pull it up like that, I did good. Now watch the difference. I come back and do it again. Go to rubbing and scratching on him. Notice my left hand is on the hip. Notice I pull the foot forward first, now straight back and over to the left. All right, she fights me again. Now, a lot of you have been there, done that. Come back, my left hand on the hip, that's the cue. I pick it up, notice at the knee, I pull it forward, I uncock the hip, I go straight back, and notice, all right, she pulled it away again. Now she did it a third time, and I don't normally like to have one do it a third time, but I thought she wasn't going to argue with me, but this mule has a bad habit of doing that, so now I want you to see what's going to happen. Pull on it, pick up on the hock, pull the leg forward. She pulls them away. I jerk on it a little bit. I come straight back. And notice I'm not trying to hold on to it. Now she pulls away. Now look and see what happens. I had enough. Now out comes the come-along rope. You seen her fight me. I tried to give her a chance. I even took my stuff off so that she wouldn't hang me up. So now I put the come-along rope on. Now I want you all to see this. This is super important. Number one, you crank it forward, go straight back, and then let go of the foot. Don't try to hold it and brace against it. And when she did fight me, I pulled up on it, and normally that works. It didn't work. So that's all right. Now you're going to see the come along in full movement, how it's really can make a difference in the mind of a mule. There's the come along rope. I'd already spent some time, no, not with this mule. I'd already worked with this mule, but not with the back feet. Now there I am. Notice the come along rope. And I'm using the long quirk all around the legs. First, I'm going to push the button on the front leg, picking up the front leg. There it moved. Okay, that's one. That's good. I'm good with that. Now I'll push it again. I'll tap it again. Now she held it longer that time and didn't pull back near so far. Now, here's my third time. Notice I'm bumping with the come-along rope, telling her to stand still. Now I touch it. She barely picks it up, and that time she didn't move. Okay, that's three. That's good enough. Good enough. Now we do the back foot. Notice I quit at three. That's really important. There's the foot come up. Now give her a little rub with my quirk. Notice my come along is ready. Now I go back and put it on again. Slide it on down. I give her a tap. Foot comes up. The mule is standing still, so I'll come back and I'll do it again. Notice I have the come-along rope ready in case the mule should move around. Now that I've done that, I'll give her a little pet and a scratch. Okay, now I've got my come along rope ready. I'll bump her around a little bit and I'll kind of get after some. And then I'm answering a couple questions there. Notice I've got my come along rope ready. Notice how I get it. And she goes to move. And I go to tell her, nope, we ain't moving. We're standing still. Come back and bump it again. I want the feet quiet, so I'm bumping the rope. And when I bump the rope, that makes her uncomfortable. So now I'm going to go back, and I'm kind of telling the folks, answering a couple questions. And I'm going to slide my hand over. Notice I got the come along rope ready. And I'm going to rub and scratch. And I'm talking about, see how my button tells the foot to move over? Notice how I got the rope.
Are you waiting for her to relax at that point?
Right. I'm waiting for her to relax, and I'm uncocking the hip. Now, watch me. Watch me. I really get after her. Really get after her. Crack, crack, crack. I really get after her. Really getting after her. Don't move your feet. When you pull away from me, your nose is going to be sore.
But isn't that mean to the mule?
What's that?
Isn't that mean to her right there? Isn't that going to hurt her?
No, what's going to hurt her is her hurting me by kicking me. By doing that right there, that tells her what she just did was incorrect. And because she's incorrect, I'm going to bump on her nose. And notice now, notice the difference in the attitude. Notice the head is down. Notice I'm not holding on to the foot. I only have the come along rope. All I did was get into a demanding stage with that mule. Ask, tell, demand. When I got into a demanding stage, that changed her mind. As you saw, when you want to train, you're trained by the nose. Now, she could have hurt me. I'd rather her nose be sore than my nose be sore. Y'all got that idea? Because she could have kicked my nose off.
So I'll tell you what, when you made this move right here, when you made this move, gone over there, take off your belt, that reminded me of the move my dad made when I was 5 years old. And I was like, oh my God, what is Steve about to do here? All I was thinking was about back to 1987. But no, you went and you got the quirk, and we eventually got the come along rope. But when we were there, I was like, ooh, man, when my dad did that, I was in trouble.
Do we have the picture of the video of that gray mule that wouldn't let me pick up her back foot?
I'll see if I can find it. I don't know I know the search term for this one, so I can find it real quick. I'm not sure if I can find that one, but I'll do my best as we're going through questions here. Lori says, weather is gorgeous here. I just got an 18-year-old Molly who has no training. What program would you suggest? Plus, I need your rope halter too. Ooh, she's already thinking in the right direction. Steve, why don't you tell her exactly what she needs?
All right, I want to do that. I'm sorry. I just had my fire department call me, and I needed to acknowledge them, so I did. Okay, so let's go back. Come along rope, come along rope, come along rope. As you all can see, if a mule is going to be tough and is not going to pay attention and is trying to hurt you, use that come along rope. I don't care if you don't have a bit of hair on her nose, okay? And notice my timing wasn't always the best, but we got the point across. But yes, that come along rope is what you want to do.
So we don't often, say you've got to buy this, but the Ground Foundation starting kit, which comes with the come along rope, a rope halter for when you get to surcingle training, and a few other things that you'll need it for. And then it comes with an instructional video. Lori, we're just going to tell you, do yourself a favor, save yourself some frustration, and put yourself in control by getting that Ground Foundation starting kit.
Yes.
Years ago, Steve was like, they need all three of these. And I said, well, let's make it easier for them to purchase. How about we just basically discount it so it's, almost shipping free? And he said, okay, that's fine. So it's discounted. It's not free shipping, but we discounted it. And that's the only thing that we put on sale in the store because it's that important for you to get it. So go get the Ground Foundation starting kit. And folks right now watching, if you've got that come along rope, will you just tell Lori real quick that we're not full of it, that we're telling her the truth, and that it really is going to make her life easier? Because I want her to believe it, because I want her to get the impact. Okay, Steve, is this the video that you were talking about?
No, that's another one. But that also talks about doing stuff. This was a dapple gray mule at the ranch. But there you go, folks. Now we've got this stuff set up. Notice I'm trying to teach where the button is to pick up the foot. And that button is definitely there. Watch this. I'm hitting the button, and notice the foot moved a little bit. That's ask. There's tail. Now I just simply, she rubs it and she picks it up and she holds it nice and quiet. Those buttons, folks, need to be used, okay? They need to be used. Now, that was my buddy Randy Figgins there. I love that guy. That was down at the Andrada Ranch. And here, a little over a year and a half ago, Randy got sick and he got some cancer. And that guy's a fighter, and he's fighting it right now. Unfortunately, they sold the ranch. And so, Randy and I aren't working cattle right now because, hey, he's up in Prescott at home. He's got a wonderful wife ministering to him. And this cancer it's been knocking him down, but he's doing good. Here's a hard decision, folks. Here's a hard decision. You guys are always looking for the mule, right? Man, I want a good mule. Well, I got a mule called Rocky, and Dave's going to throw a picture up. There's Rocky right there, 13-2. And I just talked to Randy yesterday, and he said, Steve, I think we're going to go ahead and sell Rocky. Now, that little mule right there, you talk about a mule, side pass, turn on the forehand, turn on the hindquarters, work cattle, been on the sides of mountains. He's an awesome little mule. And if any of you want a good riding mule that's dependable, here's Rocky. I'm kind of sad to see this little mule go. I had a lady that couldn't get along with this little mule, and I acquired her several years ago. Started riding the little mule, getting his head together. All it is, folks, all that happens with these mules is people just use the wrong communication tools with them. So anyway, Rocky's for sale. If you guys are always asking me where can I find a good mule, here he is. And you can contact me by phone number, by text, by email. And hey, Steve, I'm interested in Rocky. I've also got a bunch of my personal tack that I'm selling. All this stuff is not used. It's experienced. So don't think you're going to buy it for nickels and dimes. But I am going to sell it simply because I'm not going to be punching cows or anything anymore until my buddy Randy gets well. And when he gets well, we're going to go fishing, and then we're going to figure out this ranching cowboy thing.
So, folks, if you've got questions about that, you can send Steve an email, steve@muleranch.com, or you can send him a text message, 602-999-6853. Steve@muleranch.com, 602-999-6853. And you can get more information. Next question I got, how do I teach my mule to run without another horse running in front of him? He doesn't respect the round pen.
All right, round pen is no place. 40 or a 60-foot round pen is no place to canter a mule. Okay? Now, when you say running, are you saying in the round pen with the surcingle to run? Or why are you running? Now, let me give you this next part. Most mules just don't really like running. It's not their thing. They can do a nice canter, and some can run all out if you really get after them, but they don't. So if you're going to do that, you have to teach anytime, folks, you always want to teach cues. So if you want a mule to go out of a walk and into a trot into a canter, and then into a run. Those are each cues. Now, you can do it the backyard way, and that is run along another horse, or you can do it the backyard way and keep kicking them until they finally go into a run. That is all backyard stuff. That is not a well-trained mule, okay? So how do you do it? It's called a lead departure. A right lead where the right front leg goes out, or a left lead where a left front leg goes out, okay? Those are lead departures. In order for your mule to be in the proper lead, you have to teach them turn on the forehand, turn on the hindquarters, and side pass, because they need to know how to move with each one of those in order to have a lead departure, in order to go into a canter, i.e. run, all right? So they have to know those first. So now what do? How do we teach them how to do it? We're going in a circle and we're going walking. And as we're walking, we're going to take our right hand using the Mule Rider's Martingale anytime you want to train and teach one to side pass, turn on the forehand, turn on the hindquarter, or have a lead departure. You have to use the Mule Rider's Martingale, because what it does is it actually picks up on the shoulder. It trains, you use your bridle from the shoulders to the nose. You use your legs from the shoulders to the hip, playing the tune with your legs, okay? And so when you go in this lead departure, you're going around in a circle to the right side on a right lead, all right? And you're going to take your right hand and you're going to pick up on it like this. Get back here where you can see it. Back here. There we go. So I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to turn it up like this. That right there is going to pick up on the shoulder. So now your mule is doing this as he's going around. Then you take your left leg and bump the ribs behind the center point of your saddle. That's going to make the hindquarter kick over and you'll go into a right lead departure. Now, why is a lead departure important? Because if you don't drive off the back legs, even though you're running, you've got your mule's back hollowed out and you are actually crippling him because the spine is not in the proper place. That's why a lot of mules and horses kick out. They're actually saying, hey, you're hurting my back, and they don't want to go into a canter or a run. So a lead departure is very, very important for you to do to be able to go into a canter. Now, if you're on the ground and you try to get a lead departure, you can't do it. If you're on the ground and you want them to run in a round pen, why? Why do you want them to go into a run? I'd be interested in knowing that. The most I teach in a round pen, simply because you can cripple them in their tendons when they're running, especially in small round pens. And so you got a chance of crippling them. So why do you want them to run in a round pen?
We'll see if they get back to us on that. Next question comes from Gerald saying, Steve, do you have any videos on driving a team of 2 mules? Thank you.
Yep, we got a couple different ones that we have. And, driving teams, you'll see me first driving on the ground. And you'll also, and we got like 3 or 4 of them all together on driving teams. I've got one called Foundation Driving. That's your number one. And then I got the one where David, a good friend of mine, and him and I are driving together. And then we got communication through the line. So, yep, we got them, huh, Dave?
That's right. I'll put that in there. Next question. This one comes in from Jamie. Says, I use rope halters, but with their thinness and pressure in a thin spot and not breakable in emergencies, I've been told to use regular nylon. What are your thoughts?
Take your nylon and throw it in the garbage and burn it, okay? Because you don't want it to break. Because here's what happens, folks. When they pull back and it breaks, the mule or horse falls over backwards and it knocks their vertebrae out of place. and you can cripple one up really easy. I'll never forget when they started bringing those nylon halters on, and old Bill Doherty looks at that and he said, Steve, what are you going to do with those? And I said, I don't have to tie any more nylon halters, Bill. I don't have to tie any more rope halters. He said, Steve, them nylon halters are going to get you in trouble. And today, here it is. I know people that have tied their horses up with a nylon halter. The horse flew back, caught the people's finger in there, and actually took their finger off because they were tying the horse up, and he blew back, and it busted. It broke their finger, and then the halter itself broke. So no, here's the thing. If they pull back, you have not done your halter foundation work correctly. As soon as they feel the pressure behind their pole, behind their ears, they should immediately go forward. Boom. That's why I tell you to do the come along rope work first. Okay. The other thing I tell you is, why tie? Why are you tying? You don't need to tie. You see me doing a lot of my work just then, picking up the back feet and the front feet. It's not tied up. It's safer to work with a mule untied than it is tied.
Awesome. I want to say hello to Johnny watching from North Idaho where it's sunny and cool. Mare is watching from West Missouri. Diana says, not only that, I've been watching over and over again. So she's been commenting, but she's been watching over and over again. Love hearing that. Craig is watching from El Reno, Oklahoma, mid-80s. Between thunderstorms here. Hey, Jim is watching from Maryland where it's 56 degrees and cloudy. Polly from Barnesville, Minnesota chiming in as she does. 85 and beautiful. Mr. Dave O'Brien from East Texas. 90 and a slight chance of rain. Slight chance of rain in Arizona means it ain't raining. Diana says, have been using with the Sir single. Thank you for your answer. Dave O'Brien says, Steve, I'm looking forward to meeting you in Shelbyville. Yeah, that's right, folks. Steve is going to be in Shelbyville, Tennessee for the American Mule and Bluegrass Festival. It's an event put on to raise support for the veterans, and lots of really cool things that happen there. The favorite for me is they take these veterans, they listen to their stories, and then the musicians there craft a song specifically about that veteran's story, which is just really, really, really cool. It's awesome. And all of the proceeds of the event go to the veterans groups that they support. And Steve will be there. I think you're presenting 2 times, Steve, but you'll be there multiple days, right?
Here's what we did last year, Dave. I was only supposed to do an hour program. I ended up training all day. And I love it when people come over to me and ask me questions. We actually have changed quite a few things. I'm actually going to have a round pen, and I'm going to have places to be seated. And you folks, you're going to see a lot of different people bring me mules, and I'm going to help them with them. So, but the main thing is it's free. You understand that? Here I am. Free. Now, but free with this contingency. That's it. All the money that I raise is going to go to this veterans group. So you make me a decent donation with me helping your mule or watching me train on the mules or whatever. Give me a good donation so that the money goes to the men and women who serve this country.
Awesome. You heard it right there, folks. American Mule and Bluegrass Festival. You can find the information online, or I've got a link here that I'll send you to. It's in Shelbyville, which is outside of Nashville, and it's going to be the last weekend here in September, and it rolls over to the first couple days of October. It's going to be a lot of fun. I got the link right here, Shelbyville event. Y'all go check it out. Continuing along here, we've got, let's see, got to scroll back up here. Dave says, my Molly came from a 15.5 quarter horse, an athletic regular donkey. I think I've been described very similar, an athletic regular man. How much influence does the mare have on the Molly's height?
Now say that in part again.
My Molly comes from a 15.5 quarter horse and an athletic regular donkey. How much influence does the mare have on the Molly's height?
You know, it really has a lot of influence. Um, but here's the thing, folks. You know, in breeding myself, I had a 14-2 standard donkey, and I've seen him breed 16-hand horses and end up with a 13-2 mule. Got that? So it's every bit of possible that you can get a 15-hand mule, but I'm going to tell you, anytime that you're breeding, it's kind of like it's kind of like gambling. You never know what you're going to get. I have seen guys breed to a great mare and have a great mule, and then breed again and have one of the sorriest mules, super lousy mind, same jack, same mare, the whole bit. So it's really hard to say, but if the mule is around 6 months old, you can measure from the center of his knee to the top of his cannon bone, and you'll be able to get an average measurement. You there, Dave? Did I lose you?
Sorry about that. Push the wrong button. Johnny says, my mule tries to kick at flies. What would you do to fix that bad habit? We'll teach him martial arts. He'll get more effective. No, just kidding. Kicking at flies. What would you teach him to do?
There's no way you're going to change that. Okay. Kicking at flies, this sort of thing. Here's what I like to do. I take WD-40 and I spray it on the tail. And as they're swishing their tails, this swishes that WD-40 around. Okay. And, and it's kind of an oily thing and it keeps them away. It's almost impossible to get these animals to do what it's natural to kick at a fly. It's natural to kick at you when you don't want them to, but this is what I do. I don't allow it. I put the come along hitch. He kicks at me, he's going to buy the price. Get him to quit kicking at flies, it's going to happen. There's no way you can change it. Now, Dave, we got that stuff called
Hispania.
Hispania.
I just put a link in the comment section.
That's right. Good man. Put that link in there. Here's the deal, folks. That Hispania, during fly season, rub it on their legs, rub it on their shoulders, underneath their belly, and that Hispania does a really good job. Let them know that I contacted you and that you want the stuff that Steve Edwards uses on mules, and that would be the way to go there.
Awesome. Let's see here. Cruising right along. Let's see. Man, I keep losing my spot. Dory is watching from Virginia. Luke says, hi, Steve and Dave. Luke here from Michigan. Nice 72 degrees out today. The vet came out to look at my mule that was having soreness in his back legs. The soreness in the back legs moved to all 4 feet. She is thinking it is laminitis.
Oh, no.
Have you heard that, Steve?
Yeah. Laminitis is a death charge, folks. The lamina gets broke down, and they don't completely know why it does it. Some of it has been blamed on bacteria. They don't really have a good hold on it, where it comes from. But if he's got laminitis, folks, they're pretty much going to be a pasture ornament for a while. But here's the downside, folks, is being a pasture ornament is not good for them, because they'll get to where they're laying down. Eventually they can't get up, and then you're going to wish that you had put them down a long time ago, you know. And unfortunately, your mule is pretty much done.
Sorry to hear about that, Luke. Thanks for giving us a heads up. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Cowboy
That's
Ken
right.
is watching from Connecticut, where it's a beautiful day. Lane says, can I use your cinches on my Sawbuck pack saddle? Well, Lane, you're going to need to buy your own cinches. But once you get your own cinches, Steve, can he use them on the Sawbuck pack saddle?
Hey, what you need to have, Lane. Now, is this Lane up in Washington? I think it is.
Lane Thomas.
Yep, you need my Arizona cinch, buddy. That Arizona cinch. The nice thing about it, I just done a video and sent it to you, Dave.
Yep.
And it's downloaded. We're going to have it on my Arizona cinch. If Dave hasn't got it on there now, he'll have it on there shortly. But it's a demonstration how to use it. The great thing about my Arizona cinch is when your saddle starts to loosen up from going down the trail, you can reach underneath the pack boxes and pull it up tight. You don't have to take your pack boxes off, and it's a wonderful tool.
Awesome. Let's see here. Cruising right along. Hannah is watching from Florida, where it's 90 degrees. God bless America. Bill Rose sharing to the mules of Indiana and the mules of Ohio. Beautiful weather and 73 degrees. Dave O'Brien says, Lori, it is a total game changer. Definitely worth the money. Talking about the Ground Foundation starting kit and the come along rope. Diana says, get the kit. I bought my 3 separate items, but realized I needed all 3. It's a must. Lori, the come along rope is the real deal, and you don't have to be a muscle-bound person to use it. That's from James. Lori says, thank you so much. I've watched the videos, and I do believe. My parents lived in Queen Valley, and on a visit, I see them. I almost came to the ranch, but I didn't check it out. Well, you can get online at muleranch.com, and you can check out with the Ground Foundation starting kit in your shopping cart. So let's do that. Dory says, yep, come along rope is the best tool in my barn. Probably would have given up on my Molly pony mules if I didn't have it. Johnson Taxidermy, Sherman Johnson, the come along rope is the best piece of tack I have. They respond to it immediately. Marsha's watching. Beautiful, clear, and sunny, 7 degrees weather in Virginia. Been collecting and staking hay for winter. Yolanda is watching, and that means that we have gone international. Yolanda holding down the unofficial mule community in the Netherlands. Good to have you here, Yolanda. Lori says,
And
sorry.
Europe.
What's that?
And Europe.
And Europe. She's holding it all down.
Yeah, she actually has sent me clients from several places in Europe. Austria, yeah, she flat nails it down. She's the Steve Edwards of Europe. She's pretty awesome.
But better looking.
Oh, way better looking. She's way cuter.
That's great. Good to have you here, Yolanda. Lori says, sorry I'm late. Florida weather cooling off, upper 80s later this week. David Scholl, hey, that means we've gone international again. Queensland, Australia, it's heating up and getting dry. Judy is watching from Gazelle, California, where it's 85 and beautiful. Tamar is watching from Queensland, Australia. It's cool and slightly overcast. David, is she telling the truth? Because now we've got 2 people out there in Queensland, Australia, and we can check up on you people. Marcia says, use a breakaway halter in the trailer if you have to tie and you are worried about a traffic accident. Steve, would you use a breakaway halter in a trailer if you're worried about an accident?
I would not. I can tell you that I definitely know of one horse that died, and I won't go into any more details other than that. Listen, folks, a sharp knife is what I send out with everything that I sell. A serrated, sharp knife. Have I had horses and mules upside down in a trailer before in a wreck? Yes. I've crawled across their bodies, and I've cut the rope off of them, and I've let them out. I've done that, okay? But I'm going to tell you, it can work. But I don't use. Here's the reason I don't use breakaway halters. I have had clients tell me that their animal had got loose in there, got themselves hung up, and actually fallen down on the ground and spent a whole several hours on the floor of the trailer, and that wasn't pretty. So anyway, long story short, when they got to have respect for that halter. And if you have put in your work with the come along rope and they stand with the halter, if they move to the right, the knots bump them. If they move to the left, the knots bump them. If they pull back, the rope bumps them. It tells them to stand still and quiet. I personally don't tie my mules inside the pen, inside the trailer, especially when I've got panels that go and separate them. If I've got them in there and I've got like my 6-horse trailer, matter of fact, old Randy and I down at the ranch, we just jump them in and pull the bridles off and tie the bridle to the trailer and go down the road, and they do just fine. So now here again, this is this lady's opinion about the Breakaway halter. I personally, if it was something that worked where my mules are comfortable, I would use it. Personally, I have not had good results. And again, I've been there, done that. I've been in wrecks. I've been in tough places with these mules. And I find that a rope halter adjusted correctly will do the job.
Awesome. Thank you, Marcia. Appreciate it. Good opportunity to talk back and forth. Yolanda says, too far away from me, need to cross 2 oceans. Yeah, that's right. Barbara from Sullivan, Missouri, 81 degrees, late logging in. I have to thank Steve so much for advocating for not having to ride when you're not comfortable, but working with them on the ground. Thank you. What do you recall having to talk with Barbara about that?
Yes, and I tell you what, folks, there's a sign inside the cabin at Ron Denn's place, and it's got the Duke in there. You know who the Duke is? John Wayne. And it shows a picture of John Wayne with his hat on, and then in the back it shows kind of a bronky horse. And the caption is, being brave is being scared to death but to climb on, and not being brave is being scared to death, but climbing on anyway. You know what, folks? Me and John Wayne don't usually disagree, but I'm going to disagree with that one. I don't think you should get back on just because you got bucked off. I think you should go back to do your groundwork and see what's going on and get your nerves back again. Now, let me tell you something else. It's really easy to get a concussion, especially when you don't wear helmets. It's really easy to get a compressed vertebrae. So if you fall off and you hit the ground, you do yourself a favor, especially if you hit on your head. You go to the ER and you get some MRIs and things like this, okay? I was really upset last night, Dave. By the way, my car club, East Valley Cruisers, I was with some friends, and we were having a meeting about it. And some friends of mine had been in a car accident here 2 months ago. And when the fire department showed up, it was not Mesa Fire Department. It was not Apache Junction Fire Department. But the fire department, when they showed up, did not put a cervical collar on their necks, and actually had David, who had 8 broken ribs, crawl across the console and come out the driver's door because he was hit in the side. And anyway, I'm not going to go into that anymore, but let's go back. Folks, do your groundwork. Don't go climbing in the saddle. Riding is not the important part. Okay? If you cannot be confident on the ground, why climb in the saddle? It's inevitable. People want to ride. And I understand. Well, I've had people tell me, well, I can't get him stopped. Well, your bit make him stop. Yes, once you've done your groundwork. Don't just put a bit in his mouth and say, okay, got him now. Steve Edwards designed that bit. No, just don't put my saddle on a mule's back because he has been bucking and now the Steve Edwards saddle is going to fix the problem. No, folks, do groundwork. I'm trying to teach you, do foundational training so you can try to help, try to eliminate getting yourself hurt. Don't want to be like me, 32 broken bones, 2 replaced hips. You don't want to be there. Okay. So do yourself a favor, do your groundwork. Okay. Remember now, it's not the come along hitch, it is your timing. So if you follow my videos and follow it to the nth degree, you'll see that you'll have good results. Always want to fix the problem before it becomes a problem. Okay? Really, really important. Yay. Yes, I did talk to her, and she's building her confidence up. She's doing good. Hey, looky there. There's my 49 with a little trophy that I got. And at that time, that was my Border Collie puppy, Jess, about 3 years old. 3 years ago. Yep. There's the old fat man with his 49 Mercury. Yeah.
So, yep, the Jess won for best show of a human.
Yeah.
They said, you keep that human on the leash better than anybody else we've seen. We're giving you a trophy. And Jess said, here, hold this trophy, human.
Hold this trophy. And he does a good
job. Lori says, you guys are the best. Thank you. I'm sold. Good to hear it. Yolanda says, anytime. Judy says, oh, so that is what the knife is for that I got with my order. Thank you. There we go. That's right.
Notice, folks, that knife is serrated in the beginning. That's so when you put it down there to cut that animal loose or whatever, if that rope is tight, that is serrated. So what that amounts to is it's going to cut very quick. I've given you a very good knife to be used in a hurry. That knife slides in your pocket. I don't care if you buy a come-along rope or if you buy a saddle. I send a knife out with everybody because that knife is important. Nobody should be riding without a knife.
All right, I'm here. Check this one out. You'll like this one, Steve.
What do we got? What do we got now? Well, you always got something. Hey, there's my boys. There they are. Look at those guys, huh? Yeah.
Been a couple years.
Yeah.
We're gonna have
a lot bigger now.
They are bigger now. I'm gonna have to bring them out here to one as soon as the weather cools down, which it is cooling down pretty good.
Yep. Yeah. I had them boys come out. We had some hot dogs. They got to play around them hot rods. Those are my grandkids away from my grandkids. You know, I love them kids. They're great.
There we go. You're the original owner of that one right there.
That's a 64 Falcon. And we bought that car in 1970, and it's my first family car. At that time, I was married in '68, so at that time I had 2 kids, and I bought that 64 Falcon Woody Wagon, 260 V8. It's got 92,000 miles on it now. My wife learned how to drive on it. We took it camping and fishing and stuff, and that was our main car back then. And I paid $860 for it. And I said to the salesman there at the dealership I was working at, Charlie Rossi Ford, and I said, $860? That's a lot of money for a car. Can you set me up with payments? And he said, sure, Steve, I can do that. And he come back. Now, this was 1970, folks. And our flat rate an hour at the body shop was $7.50. And I was making 50%. Anyway, long story short, my payments on that car was $28 a month.
I could pay $28 a month for a car.
But them boys have grown up since that. My goodness, that's been 3 years ago.
2 years ago. It'll be 2 years this November. Marcia says, was it a 3-speed?
No, it was a 2-speed automatic, and it had factory air conditioning and a power back window.
There you go. Yolanda says, do you still have the small head stalls?
You mean for the bridle or for the halter?
I don't know. She just says, do you still have
the small leather bridles? Yes, I have those.
Okay, there you go, Yolanda. Dave O'Brien says, thank you for the knives, Steve. And Yolanda says the bridle, yes.
Yep, I have some small bridles left, yes.
Marcia says, I love the 49 Mercury. Steve Edwards, Steve, he does too. That's why he's got it. I thought you were going to say you bought that Falcon for a 6-pack of beer and a Frisbee.
Yeah, back then I did drink a beer or two. I sure did. But I pay for it now. You see how fat I am, you know.
I have to figure out what the car is that my dad had. He's told me it's oh my gosh. I'll find out and I'll share it on a future one. But it was this gray oxidized, huge long like car, and he said he gave a guy like a 6-pack of beer and the guy gave him a car, and then like they just had parties in that car because it was so big. It was like a emptied out Suburban size. So
hey Dave, did you see the pictures I sent you of my trailer and my
yeah. So I've got this one right here. I didn't put the other ones in yet. Do you want me to put the other ones in?
Yeah. Now folks, here's the deal with this. Since I no longer am pulling livestock and stuff, I'm selling this 2020 Dodge Ram 10-foot bed. It's only got 23,000 miles on it, and it is like new. And I'm going to sell it and my 40-foot toy hauler. And that 40-foot toy hauler, I bought it brand new in 07. I'm not going on the road anymore, so folks, I am cutting back. And that's what I'm doing. So if anybody wants an awesome Dodge truck, I mean, it's got heated seats, cool seats, all kinds of bells and whistles on that truck. And it is a 1-ton. It's a 10-foot bed with 4 toolboxes. And it does a wonderful job of pulling my 40-foot toy hauler. And we got pictures of that toy hauler too. But we're going to be putting them on my webpage for sale. There it is with 2 slide outs. Wonderful rig, pulls nice. Oh, looky there. A nice looking woman. No, she don't go with the deal. Oh, the dog? No, he don't go with the deal either. But this trailer, Susan and I bought it in 07, and I've maintained it, kept it up, and it is in excellent, excellent condition. And so I've got it for sale, folks. Yes, I'm cutting back on a lot of my stuff, but this is the truck and trailer. And if you want to enjoy traveling, it is great. And that trailer, by the way, weighs less than the majority of trailers out there. You'd be surprised, but I'm going to be selling that. So if you want to contact me at my phone, I like to talk. I'm no good at writing on emails and texting and stuff. So you call me, leave your message, and I'll call you back, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. There you go. Folks, thank you so much for hanging out. Appreciate it. Real quick, I want to give a hello to, let's see, Johnny, who says, my parents, Steve and Adrian, say hi from up here in North Idaho. Well, hello, right back at you.
Yes, sirree. Have a good one there, Adrian and John.
Adrian and my parents, Steve and Adrian. There you go.
Steve and Adrian. Well, good to hear from you. Absolutely.
David Scholl, we've got offers coming in right now on the truck. Our top offer right now for the truck is 2 bottles of rum. So right now the top offer is 2 bottles of rum from Australia.
Oh, David Scholl, what am I going to do with you?
So let's see if we can beat that. Folks, thanks so much for hanging out with us. We really do appreciate it. We know you could be doing a lot of things. It's so good to hear from each and every one of you. Even if you're not able to join us every single week, we love that you get around to it and we get to say hello. And then for those of you who we do get to see virtually every week, what a treat it is. We don't take it for granted, and we sure don't expect it, but we appreciate it, and it means the world to us. Everything that we talked about can be found at muleranch.com. And if you think it's a video, well, you can go to youtube.com, and there's a good chance you can find it there as well. David Scholl and Ron Den are 2 ranchers who we had recent conversations with. So go over to YouTube, find those conversations. If you found this conversation and all of our conversations fun, you will really enjoy hearing them share. David about Australia and Ron about his ranch in Montana. Steve, anything you want to say before we're all done here?
Well, one more thing, folks, and I know a lot of you do Facebook and stuff. My Facebook was hijacked. I've talked to a couple people that said they had some contact with, quote, me, but it wasn't me. So if you get contacted by me through Facebook, it is not me. They have taken over and completely stolen my Facebook. Listen, folks, if you get in trouble with Facebook, they don't do nothing. Nothing happens. Now, if you say, anyway, I don't know how it happens that you get taken off of Facebook, but I don't know how it's gone, but it's gone. And and I don't care to go back on Facebook again. Dave's got it together for our ranch. And of course, he used it here for this program. But if you got to depend on Facebook to get your Facebook back, don't depend on them. They ain't going to help you. They're not going to answer emails or nothing. They're horrible.
Yep, it's real bad. If any of y'all work for Facebook and you want to help us, reach out to me, support@muleranch.com, and would love to work with you, see if we can get it fixed up. But I spent probably, I don't know, over the course of 2 weeks, I probably spent about 12 hours with support in one way, shape, or form. And yeah, the people who I talked to, they wanted to help, but they don't have policies and procedures to actually help, and it's very frustrating. But we're very grateful that we were able to retain access to the Queen Valley Mule Ranch page. And so if you're watching on Facebook, we're grateful that we can bring it to you. And we'll be back here again next week, Tuesday. So it'll be a good time then. But until then, God bless, take care, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye, everyone.
See ya.